I've been making games in Unity for more than 3 years now, almost 4 years, but I realized that I've never really learned other game engines. I mean, I used Scratch for a while, but other than that, yeah, it was just Unity. So with the knowledge I've gotten, let's see if I can learn Unreal Engine in 1 week. It really shouldn't be that hard to switch over. Fuck me. For the first few days, I decided that I was going to watch these 2 tutorials by Unreal Sensei. One of them is more focused on world design, and the other is about actually building and coding a game in Unreal. So on day 1, I decided to start with the second video. But first, I needed to install Unreal, so after waiting for about an hour, it took so long, oh my god. I opened up my very first Unreal project and started learning the basics. And so I began slowly realizing that, at least at first glance, this is almost exactly like Unity. In the center you have a window where you can view your game, to the top you have your standard buttons to run the game, add objects, edit the project settings and all that. To the right you have some kind of details panel showing each component of the object you have selected. You get the idea, the windows and layouts are quite similar. Also, when you press an object, a 3D vector will appear to help you move it around the 3D space. And when I was editing the player, I mean, god damn, is that an arrow in your pocket or are you just happy to see me? But anyways, the real reason I wanted to try Unreal was because of Blueprints, which is a visual scripting system that allows you to make the game's logic without actually writing any lines of code, which is good because I'm not really good at programming. So the guy in the video teach me how to make this really simple shooter game where you have to shoot all the targets in a limited amount of time. It was surprisingly useful and it made me understand how to use blueprints quite quickly. It's basically like coding. For example, an if statement is equivalent to this branch node, so you just need to add a condition, and if that condition is true, so in this case, if the target was hit, then we can destroy the target, and that's it. Obviously, I'm simplifying a bit, but you get the gist. So I finished the whole tutorial and that was it for the first day. On day 2, I started the other video, but I'll be honest, I skipped a bit ahead because I didn't want to spend a lot of time making materials. And one of the cool things I tried was lighting. So Unreal Engine 5 uses this very cool global illumination system called Lumen. And you can see in this test scene how the light bounces off all of these colorful walls and finally hits the sphere, giving it the color of its surroundings. And this is in real time, so I can move my light source around and everything will still stay realistic. I also tried this on another test scene with lights coming from the sky outside. I don't know, something about this just felt so cool. Having this beautiful scene render without my laptop exploding was honestly very exciting. Also, I'll be honest, I'm still very bad at this. Like one time in the tutorial, he told me to press Alt and 4 and I pressed Alt F4 and closed the game. And that was it for day 2. It wasn't as productive. On day 3, I started learning some landscape tools. This is something that I also learned in Unity for my horror game. Go play it by the way, it's really cool. So I was curious how this was gonna compare. And yeah, they are basically the same. You can sculpt the terrain to create mountains and valleys, you can paint textures on the ground, and you can smooth it out. Really, I'm honestly quite shocked how similar these tools are. I don't know who copied who, apparently Unreal came out first, so I should probably make a video titled Unity is a fraud, they stole everything from Epic. No, I won't do that. Unless... So then I tried decorating the mountains with some rocks, and they look quite nice, you know? I like the way that they... Hey, stop, don't look over there! Yeah, I like the little details they have. On day 4, I began trying to import some free foliage models, and Mr. Sensei suggested this Electric Dreams environment, which does look pretty cool, until you realize that it takes 60 gigabytes to download. What the f***? This is not even a full game, it's just a bunch of trees. Unreal is brutal with its file sizes. Safe to say, I ended up using other assets, and they were still very pretty. I mean, look at these trees, wow. But anyways, I think I might have overdone it this one time because I painted a lot of trees in one spot and this happened. Let's see if my PC can handle it. Damn, that's a lot of trees. I hope my PC doesn't explode. By the way, I changed the texture of the leaves to have this autumn look because that's what he also did in the video. Then I began painting a bunch of trees, a proper amount of them this time around. And after mining a bit off camera, this was the result at the end of day 4. I think it looks quite nice. On day 5, I decided that I was going to use the map that I'd created to make a proper game. So I chose to make a sequel to one of my previous games called Easter Forester, where you have to collect eggs while escaping from an angry rabbit. So I switched the character to be in first-person view and changed the sun to make the game be set at night. I think I made it a bit too dark. Actually, I can't see shit. Let's increase the brightness. Finally, I made the logic for collecting the eggs. This was when I really started to understand how to use blueprints. On day 6, I added a few more points of interest into the map. One of them was this simple village with some medieval houses. I also added more dirt paths to the ground so that you don't get lost so easily. Then I began working on the main menu. I wanted to show the environment during the day, because that took a lot of time and I don't think it can be appreciated as much at night. I also finally added sounds, and if you thought that I was gonna use new sounds in this sequel, then you clearly don't know me well. I copy and pasted all of the sounds from the first game and added those in. By this point, you could finally play the game from start to finish, but it was super easy, and you would only die if you fell in the water. So it was time to add a main antagonist, the rabbit. I used something called a nav mesh, which tells the rabbit where he can walk on. By the end of the day, he was able to chase the player around. He was still quite dumb though. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Oh my god, stop! No, please don't! Day 7 was just for the final touches, nothing too exciting. The only thing of note is that I tried making the rabbit model rotate according to the slope of the ground, so that it doesn't look like it's just floating around. This doesn't work 100% of the time, but it's a bit better. I also finally tried exporting the game. Let's hope the game doesn't break and I don't need to fix any bugs with the rabbit, right? On day 8, I had to fix some bugs with the rabbit. Yeah, I had to work for an additional day because the rabbit just decided to stop following the player. I tried many different solutions and none of them seemed to work. But then suddenly, it just worked? For some reason. I don't really know what happened, but I exported the game again and everything was working fine. So I gave the game to my friend and it just said this.
Eu adoro que o jogo, entre o jogo antigo e este, ele deu downgrade.
He loved it! Also, check out his channel by the way, he makes his videos in Unreal, which is crazy. I actually had the idea for this video because of him. So in the end, do I think Unreal Engine's any good? Well, yeah, it is, for 3D games with realistic graphics, but for everything else, I think I'm gonna stick with Unity. Thanks for watching this video. I know I stopped making videos for a while, I'm trying to focus a bit more on college, and yeah, that's kind of it. I'll see you in a few months.